Think about it. An accusation comes, a subtle jab at a dinner party, your competence questioned in a meeting, your partner twisting your words. You feel the heat rising in your chest, cortisol spikes. Your brain screams that you're being misunderstood, that the truth is being distorted, that you need to set the record straight immediately. So you speak, you explain, you prove your righteousness, you provide context, and in that very second, you've handed them your throat. Because the world doesn't judge you by the accuracy of your words. It judges you by the desperation in your delivery. The person who explains is the person who surrenders. The person who defends is the person who accepts the other's authority to judge them. Hervey Cleckley, master of power dynamics, understood a brutal truth that modern society tries to strip from you. He knew that power has nothing to do with being right. Power was about who held the frame, and the moment you defend yourself, you've entered their frame. You've sat down in the defendant's chair in their courtroom. But what if you didn't? What if, when the attack came, you did that one thing that terrifies a manipulator more than anything else? Most people live their lives as emotional slaves. They're pulled by the strings of others' opinions. Someone frowns, they apologize. Someone accuses, they explain. They live in constant reactive defense, trying to prove they're good, smart, or valuable. This is a miserable way to exist. It's a quiet drowning of the soul. But there is a different way. There's a way to move through the world so detached, so sovereign, and so psychologically impenetrable that insults don't just bounce off you. They dissolve before touching you. This isn't about being cold. It's not about being arrogant. It's a fundamental shift in where you derive your reality from. Today we'll examine the psychology of non-defense. We'll look at why your biology betrays you in these moments and how to override it with a strategy Hervey would whisper to a prince. I'll show you how to instantly reverse the power dynamic, how to make the aggressor doubt their own mind, how to use silence not as an absence of noise, but as a weapon of mass destruction against someone's ego. But be warned, this requires you to kill a part of yourself you've been feeding since childhood, the part that begs to be understood, the part that needs permission. If you can kill this need, you become dangerous. You become untouchable. Let's begin. So, why do you do this? When someone questions you, why is your first instinct to present evidence of your innocence? It starts in childhood. Think when you were 5 and a parent or teacher accused you of something. What was the only way to escape punishment? Explanation. I didn't spill it, it fell. I didn't hit them, they hit me first. You learned that authority figures held the power of judgment, and you learned that your survival depended on convincing that authority figure you were good. The problem is, you grew up, but your psyche didn't. As you move through the world, you project that authority figure onto everyone you meet. Your friend, your partner, the stranger on the internet, even your enemies. When you defend yourself to someone, you're subconsciously saying, "You're the judge. I'm the child. Please accept my defense so I can feel safe again." It reeks of weakness. And human beings, primitive as we are, can smell this scent of submission from miles away. Machiavelli wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved." Now translate this to modern social dynamics. It is much safer to be respected than understood. When you rush to defend, you're prioritizing being understood over being respected. You're saying, "Please understand me. Please see my intention." But a king doesn't explain his decisions to his subjects. A lion doesn't explain his hunt to the gazelle. The moment you start babbling, showing reasons, showing messages, bringing up past events to prove your argument, you've signaled that your internal stability depends on their understanding. You've given them the keys to your house, and once they have the key, they can burn down the house whenever they want. This is the trap of the validation-seeking self. You think if you explain clearly enough, they'll say, "Oh, now I understand. You're right. I was wrong." How often does this actually happen? Almost never. Because the attack was never about the facts. It was about power. They didn't accuse you because they wanted the truth. They accused you to see if you'd jump, and you jumped. The first step to being untouchable is understanding the court doesn't exist. There's no prosecutor, no jury, just you and your perception of reality. When you stop letting people act like judges, accusations stop sounding like verdicts. They start sounding like opinions, and opinions are just noise. So what happens when you don't jump? Imagine this scenario. Someone throws you a verbal barb. You're incredibly selfish right now. The old you would say, "No, I'm not. I did X, Y, and Z for you yesterday. I'm just tired." Defensive, weak, reactive. Now imagine the Hervey approach. They say, "You're incredibly selfish right now." You look at them. You hold eye contact. You don't blink. You keep your face completely neutral. You let the silence hang in the air. 3, 4, 5 seconds. Do you know what happens in that silence? It's a psychological void. The human brain fears silence during conflict. It signals a rupture in the social fabric. It signals the other party isn't playing the game. When you stay silent, you're reflecting their energy back at them. You're forcing them to sit in the tension they created. Usually, they start to crack. They speak again to fill the void. I mean, not always, but right now you're selfish. Why are you looking at me like that? They start defending themselves against your silence. The power has reversed. This is the weaponized level of the gray rock method. You become a void. You can't attack a void. You can't punch fog. You can't cut water. By refusing to offer the resistance of defense, you cause the attack to pass through you and destabilize them. This requires tremendous internal control because inside, your ego is screaming, "Fight back, say something clever. You must leash that dog." Hervey knew the most powerful person in the room is the unreadable person. If you defend, you reveal your values. You reveal what hurts you. You reveal your buttons. You scream, "I'm not stupid." Now they know your insecurity is intelligence. "I'm not a bad person." Now they know your insecurity is moral standing. Silence reveals nothing. It's a dark mirror. And when they look at it, they only see their own aggression reflected, and it disturbs them. They feel judged, which is ironic because you didn't say a word. Sometimes silence isn't enough. Sometimes the situation requires words, but never defensive words. If you must speak, you'll never push back against power. You pull it. You use the aikido of speech. In dark psychology, there's a concept of agree and amplify. It creates a state of cognitive dissonance in the aggressor. If someone accuses you of something absurd, your defense validates the absurdity. It suggests the accusation is serious enough to warrant a response. Instead, you lean into it, you exaggerate it until it becomes a caricature. Aggressor, you're so obsessed with money, you're greedy. Defensive you, no, I'm not. I just want to provide for my family. Boring, predictable, weak. Hervey, you caught me. Actually, I swim in my gold coin treasure like Uncle Scrooge every Tuesday. Terrible for my back. You say this with a straight face or a slight amused smirk. What did you do here? You refused to be insulted. You proved you're not insecure about the topic. You turned their serious attack into a joke. You established that you're the one framing reality, not them. This disarms the aggressor's weapon. They wanted to hurt you. Instead, you took their knife and started peeling an apple. This signals playful mastery. Playful mastery is the ultimate state of high status. It's the demeanor of a parent watching a child's tantrum. You don't get angry at the child. You don't argue with the child. You're amused by the drama because you know you're safe. When you defend yourself, you're getting down on the floor and screaming with the child. Don't do that. Stand up. Look down. Smile. Robert Greene in the 48 Laws of Power mentions Law 25. Recreate yourself. Part of this is rejecting the identity others try to impose on you. When they label you, they're trying to put you in a box. If you fight the box, you're still interacting with the box. If you mock the box, you dissolve it. You're selfish. I prefer the term attractively self-assured, but okay. You don't care about anyone but yourself. I'm working on it. I'll add you to my list of people I care about next year. It's savage, it's rejecting, and it's incredibly attractive. Why? Because it shows you're whole. You don't need their approval to know who you are. A person who knows they're generous laughs when called stingy. A person who knows they're intelligent laughs when called stupid. If you're defending, it's because deep down you're afraid they might be right. And this is the shadow work you need to do. Let's go deeper into the philosophy of interaction. Every conversation has a metastructure, a hidden architecture. In a conflict, there's usually a judge and a defendant. The judge asks questions. Why did you do this? What were you thinking? Who do you think you are? The defendant answers. I did this because I was thinking. Whoever asks the questions holds the power. Whoever answers is losing status. The most lethal Hervey trick is to simply refuse the defendant role and seize the judge role. You do this by responding to a question with a question or by analyzing their behavior instead of your own. Them, why are you always late? Defensive you. There was traffic and my alarm didn't go off. You're losing. Hervey you. Why does my arrival time affect your mood so deeply? Boom. Do you see the shift? Suddenly we're not talking about the time. We're talking about their emotional stability. We're talking about their reaction. You've turned the lights back on them. Them. You're being ridiculous. Hervey, you. What triggers in you the need to use these kinds of labels to get your point across? You're psychoanalyzing them in real time. This is maddening for a manipulator. They want to see you on defense. Instead, you're circling around them, observing them like a specimen in a jar. It's interesting that you perceive it that way. Does saying this make you feel better? You seem very invested in this. These statements are like shields. They acknowledge the sound coming out of the other person's mouth, but not the content. It's a boundary, a verbal force field. You're saying, this is your issue, not mine. Take it. This isn't just a technique. It's a spiritual stance. It's the realization that others' perceptions of you are not your business. Their anger is their problem. Their disappointment is their responsibility to manage. When you defend, you're trying to carry their emotional burden for them. You're trying to fix their feelings. Stop it. Let them carry their own weight. Now for the paradox. Sometimes the most aggressive, defense-reversing power move you can make is to agree, but not the way you think. This isn't a surrender agreement. This is the agreement of the abyss. Imagine someone yelling at you. They're listing your flaws. They're trying to start a fight. You look into their eyes and calmly say, "You're right." And then you stop talking. "You're right. Sometimes I'm difficult." "You're right. I messed this up." This is the miss technique. What happens when you throw a stone at a fog bank? Nothing. No thud. No bounce back. It just disappears. When you agree with an aggressor, you steal their momentum. They're pushing on a door expecting it to be locked. When you open the door, they fall on their face. They want to fight. They want resistance. Resistance validates their anger. Agreement neutralizes it. But here's the subtlety. You must agree with the truth in their statement without accepting the shame they're trying to attach to it. There's a difference between admitting a mistake and accepting character assassination. You messed up this report. You're incompetent. Defense. I'm not incompetent. The data was wrong. Power move. You're right. There are errors in the report. I'll fix it. Notice what's omitted. You didn't address the incompetent part. You ignored the insult and addressed the truth. You took responsibility for the action, but not the identity. This signals tremendous confidence. Only a person secure in their competence can admit a mistake this easily. Insecure people fight to the death to prove they didn't make mistakes. Secure people say, "Oops, my bad," and move on. Hervey would call this disarming the enemy. If you drop your sword, they look foolish holding their own. It takes the wind from their sails. It makes them look hysterical while you look grounded. And in the long run, history is written by the grounded. None of this works if it's just a tactic. If you're using this script but your voice is trembling, your eyes are darting around, or your energy is screaming, "Please love me," you'll fail. Dark psychology is 20% words and 80% nonverbal frame. You must build the internal architecture to support the silence. This brings us back to the shadow. Why does it hurt when they attack? Because they're touching a wound that's already there. If I tell you you're green-skinned, you don't get angry. You think I'm crazy, you don't defend yourself, you laugh. But if I tell you you're a failure and you defend yourself, it's because a part of you suspects I might be right. The ultimate defense isn't a verbal technique, it's self-knowledge, looking at your own darkness, owning your own flaws, and accepting your own shadow. When you know you have the capacity to be selfish, and someone calls you selfish, you say, sometimes yes. When you know you have the capacity to be cruel, and someone calls you cruel, you say, I can be. You can't shame a man who's already accepted himself. You can't expose a woman who has nothing left to hide. This is what being untouchable means. It means you've integrated the parts of yourself that others try to use against you. You become transparent. Light passes through you. Arrows pass through you. You're no longer a fortress to be defended. You're the wind. Here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, you're going to play a game. The game is called No Defense. No matter what, no matter how small the accusation, you're forbidden from explaining yourself. If you're late, say, I was late. Don't say why. If you spill coffee, say, I spilled the coffee. Don't blame the cup. If someone misunderstands you, let them misunderstand. Sit in the fire of that discomfort. Feel the urge to correct, to manage their perception, to be the good person. And let that urge burn to ash. Watch what happens to the people around you. Watch how they react when you stop playing the game. You'll see confusion first, then respect, then a strange kind of magnetism, because people are drawn to certainty, and nothing screams certainty louder than a person who doesn't need to explain why they exist. You're reclaiming your energy. You're closing the leaks in your soul. You're stepping out of the child role and into the sovereign role. The world will try to pull you back. It will try to provoke you. It feeds on reaction. Don't give it to it. Keep your mystery. Keep your power. Keep your silence. But wait, I need to tell you one more thing, because there's a critical point forgotten on this journey. We said silence is a weapon, correct. But the most powerful weapon is actually internal integrity. You must understand this. Every moment you feel the need to defend yourself, you're actually admitting that a part of your identity is in someone else's hands. So how do you gather back these identity crumbs? How do you become whole? Here's the deep truth most people miss. Your need to defend comes from your hunger for acceptance. And your hunger for acceptance feeds from your disease of non-self-acceptance. Think for a moment. How many times in your life have you done something and thought inside, I hope I did this right. I hope they understand me. I hope they won't be angry. Every I hope sentence is handing a piece of your power to others. This is the deepest lesson Hervey taught to princes. In your own court, you must be the only judge. The moment you enter someone else's court, you've already lost. Now I'll give you an exercise. Tonight before bed, look in the mirror. Yes, it may seem cliché, but do it and ask yourself, who am I? But this time, don't give the answer from others' eyes. Don't say, I'm a good father, a successful professional, a loyal spouse, because these are all definitions according to someone else. Instead, ask, if no one else existed, if I didn't need anyone's approval, if I didn't have to play any social role, who would I be? That answer is the real you. And when you find that real you, others' attacks don't affect you, because who they're attacking is the role you play for them, not you. There's another law Robert Greene mentions, Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. But be careful. This isn't hypocrisy. This is strategic flexibility. When you maintain your silence, your power, your mystery, you can appear ordinary from the outside. People may see you as understanding, calm, relaxed. But inside, you can be a hurricane, a tsunami, and no one knows. This is your secret advantage. When others can't read you, they can't be one move ahead of you. In chess, this is called the dark horse move. No one sees it coming. Now let's get to perhaps the most important part. All these strategies, all these tactics, all these psychological games are wasted if something is missing at the foundation. What is that thing? Purpose. Intent. Why? Why do you want to be untouchable? Just for revenge? Just for ego satisfaction? Just to win? If that's your answer, you've already lost. Because the person chasing revenge is still reacting to the other party's actions. They're still under their power. True untouchability doesn't seek revenge, doesn't seek justice either, doesn't seek anything. It just exists in its own reality, in its own time, on its own terms. So what does this feel like? Let me give you an example. When a child attacks you, what do you feel? Threatened? No. A bit of bewilderment, maybe some pity, because you know the child doesn't have the capacity to really hurt you. Not physically, psychologically. Now apply the same logic to adults. When someone yells at you, if you're truly grounded in your own identity, you feel the same thing. Not threat, pity. Poor person, still so dependent on external validation. This perspective changes everything. You're no longer fighting at the same level with them, because you're already at a different level. But be careful. This approach doesn't make you cold. On the contrary, it can make you more empathetic, because you understand why people cause pain, not because they're hurt, but because they've been hurt. They're projecting their pain onto someone else. When you understand this, you don't hate them, you pity them. And pity is a far, far superior power to hate, because hate binds you to them. Pity sets you free. You might say now, but someone at my company slandered me. My partner constantly manipulates me in my marriage. How am I going to handle this with pity? Great question. The answer is, pity doesn't mean tolerance. It doesn't mean erasing boundaries. On the contrary, it allows you to set iron boundaries, but without hostility. You can say, I don't accept this, without saying, but I don't see you as an enemy either. You can end the relationship without holding a grudge. You can fire someone without hating them. How is this possible? Because your decision comes from logical boundary, not emotional reactivity. This is real power. You're not emotionless. You feel emotions, but you're not their slave. You can feel anger, but you don't have to do what anger makes you feel like doing. You can feel pain, but you don't have to defend yourself to escape the pain. When you can make this distinction, you're truly free. Now let's get to the final and most critical point. Practice. Because theory is beautiful, but without application, it's just a philosophy game. I gave you a 7-day challenge earlier. Now I'm going to deepen it a bit. Every day, ask yourself these questions. 1. How many times did I go into defense mode today? 2. What was I feeling in that moment? Physically. Tightness in my chest, nausea, flushing in my face. 3. What could I have done instead of defending? Could I have stayed silent? Could I have agreed and moved on? Could I have redirected the question? 4. Did the person really attack me, or were they projecting their own pain? 5. What did I learn about myself from this experience? What button do I still have? These questions will sharpen you day by day. It will be difficult at first. The first 3 days, you'll probably make a lot of mistakes. You'll go into defense, then say, oh, I did it again. No problem. Awareness is already the first step. On the 4th day, your awareness time will shorten. On the 7th day, you'll be able to stop in some situations in real time. After a month, it will become natural. And after 3 months, people will ask you, something's changed about you. What happened? But you won't explain. Because your power is in your mystery. Let me tell you one last story. There was a Zen master. One day the villagers accused him. You got that girl pregnant, they said. The Zen master just said, is that so? When the baby was born, they brought it to him. Take it, it's your responsibility, they said. The Zen master said, I see, and took the baby and started raising it. A year later, the real father emerged. The villagers came to the master in shame. Forgive us, we made a mistake. The baby wasn't yours. As the Zen master gave back the baby, he just said, Is that so? The power of this story is here. The Zen master neither defended himself when accused, nor said, "I told you so," when proven right, because his identity was never tied to others' thoughts. The baby came, he cared for it. The baby left, he let it go. The accusation came, he noted it. The confession came, he noted it. But none of it shook him. This is true untouchability. Now, my final question to you: can you be like that Zen master? Whatever the world loads onto you, can you protect your identity? Whatever people say, can you hold the silent lake inside you without rippling? If your answer is, "Yes, I'll try," then this video has achieved its purpose. If you say maybe, that's also a sufficient start, because the greatest changes begin with maybe. But if you say, "No, I'll keep defending because being right is important," then let me tell you this: you're right. Continue, because this path isn't for you, and that's okay too. Not everyone can be Hervey Cleckley. Not everyone can face their shadow. Not everyone can handle the power of silence, and knowing that is also a kind of freedom. If this philosophy resonates with that dark, deep part inside you, with that part of you tired of performing for others, then you know what to do. Subscribe, but not because I'm asking you to. Subscribe because you're tired of being prey in a world of predators. Subscribe because you're committed to protecting silence and power and mystery. Subscribe because you're not going to defend yourself anymore. You won't defend yourself because you don't need to defend, because you're already whole, because you're already enough, because you're already free. And a free person doesn't have to explain anything. Go and live your silence.